Look, I know I say the Republican Party is a cult a lot. I talk about it a lot. I know that others do too. It's not unique to me. It's not something I made up, not some thought that I came to independently. It is a thought I came to independently, but I'm not the only one. The Republican Party has now been reduced to just tailoring their legislation, tailoring their leadership to help Donald Trump justify his aggrievement. Mike Johnson this weekend was on with Maria Bartiromo talking about this new legislation to make illegal, federally, illegal immigrants from voting in federal elections. They're going to make a law. The only problem is that law already exists. Even Fox News, in this clip I'm getting ready to play you, puts the law that's already on the books next to him as he's talking about this new legislation. But that's not even the larger problem. The larger problem is what they're trying to do here is propagandize this issue to assist Donald Trump in the upcoming election. Because the facts on the ground that are recognized by both liberal groups and conservative groups is that illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, whatever title you want to put on them, name, label, they don't vote in any numbers sufficient to cause alarm at all. In fact, most times, because of the security of our election apparatus, when they do register to vote, they are weeded out because they are recognized as not eligible to vote. So this is a solution in search of a problem that doesn't exist on top of a law that already addresses the thing as a crime that makes it not happening. So first, here's Mike Johnson. Look, for a man who claims to adhere to a philosophy and a religion and a deeply held personal faith, that's main tenet is not to lie, one of the main tenets of Christianity, he sure does spend a lot of time lying. Here's Mike Johnson on Fox News, of course, this weekend.
Thing we need to do, and this is what the House Republicans are about to enter legislation into the record that will ensure that no illegal can vote in a federal election. You have to prove you're a citizen instead of, as the law currently states, just checking a box to say it. Maria, we have so many illegals in the country. They could tilt the election if this happened. If just 1 in 100 illegals decided to vote in a federal election, it could swing congressional races, and it might even swing presidential election. You could talk about hundreds of thousands of votes potentially. So we have to do everything possible to make sure that this election is secure. It's a #1 priority of the American people.
Mr. Speaker, thanks very much.
It's not the #1 priority of the American people. It's the #1 priority of Donald Trump, which by extension makes it the #1 priority of the Republican Party, the Trump Party, the Trump cult. I'm going back to the Christianity thing here, but it is, one of the 10 commandments, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And Mike Johnson is A-OK putting Donald Trump as a deity ahead of his own claimed deity, Yahweh, Jehovah, Jesus, whatever you want to call him. Evidence that this doesn't happen is voluminous. Evidence that the thing Mike Johnson's saying is a solution in search of a problem is voluminous. I'm going to read from 2 separate articles, just like 2 paragraphs here. Here's the AP. If you want to go and find this article and read it, it'll be linked below. Non-citizen voting isn't an issue in federal elections, regardless of conspiracy theories. Here's why. That's the title of the article. Trump has made baseless claims about this subject before, like in 2016, when he blamed his loss of the popular vote on voting by immigrants. And then, remember this, after he lost in 2016, he appointed to some doofus from Kansas, Chris Klobuchar or something was his name, a real dipshit who lost an upcoming election, but he ran a voter fraud tribunal. This canvassing organization that went through and they scoured the evidence to prove that Donald Trump had won the popular vote. This was funded. Donald Trump appointed this guy, and they found nothing. Even Donald Trump's hired pit bull on this matter, who certainly would have fabricated the evidence if it would have made sense, he couldn't do it. They found nothing. Donald Trump's own guy found nothing. Here's the rest of the sentence here. Like in 2016, when he blamed his loss of the popular vote on voting by immigrants and then appointed a commission to investigate the issue, it was disbanded without identifying a single case of a non-citizen casting a vote. The Brennan Center for Justice, a liberal group, surveyed 44 election officials in some of the most populous and immigrant-heavy jurisdictions in the country after 2016, including Arizona, California, and Texas. It found only 30 incidents of a possible non-citizen voting out of 23.5 million votes cast in those places. 30 out of nearly 25 million. That's a liberal group, the Brennan Center for Justice. I wouldn't call them liberal. But here's the Heritage Foundation, the authors of, the promoters of Project 2025. Not liberals, not mainstream. This is a radical group. They also found this. This is from The Guardian. Here's the headline. Trump and Mike Johnson push for redundant ban on non-citizen voting. Planned bill to ban already illegal practice is latest Republican step to spread falsehoods about immigration and voter fraud. That's how you write a headline. Take note, mainstream media. Here's the paragraph. The Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, has a database of voter fraud cases across the country, which, according to the Washington Post, includes just 85 cases of non-citizen voting since 2002. 85 cases. Think about how many hundreds and hundreds of millions of ballots have been cast, maybe billions of ballots that have been cast since 2002, 22 years ago. 85 is the number that the conservative group with an axe to grind on this matter, that's all they could come up with. But Mike Johnson wants to flood the zone with bullshit, ginning up fear in Americans about the fact that their vote will be canceled out by someone who's a non-citizen in this country. Using words like illegal alien. And they could turn the election. If 1 out of 100, they could gather hundreds of thousands of votes to work Donald Trump out of office. This is the number one priority of the American people, he says. It's not the number one. This tells you how out of touch and detached from reality and the actual issues that face Americans the Republicans are, especially Republicans in Congress. If this is their number one priority, based on the fact that they believe, they don't believe it, they say it, but they want you to believe they believe it, that this is the number one priority of Americans, yikes. Last week it was inflation and every other economic metric that is looking great right now. Last week it was that. Remember when it was gas prices? That's the number one priority. Then it was the caravans. Oh, the border. It's the number one priority. And now that this is their legislative agenda, this is the number one priority of Americans. They're liars. They don't care about democracy. They don't care about doing the hard work of legislating, of being leaders. What they care about is running interference for their cult leader. Passing laws that already exist. What's next? A law against murder? Mike Johnson going to get out on the podium and say, we're going to pass a law to make bank robbery illegal because it's the number one priority. Yeah, but Speaker Johnson, what about the law that already exists that makes it illegal? Oh, liberal media, I see what you're doing. Idiots. Anyway, what do you think? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work, helping me do this work, make these videos, create this content for $2 a month. You can go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/I Doubt It podcast. $2 a month. Great. You can also click the join button below, become a channel member right here on YouTube. $2 a month. Same deal. I appreciate it. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore everywhere. I'd love to see you there. And I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.